Welcome to Dino Land, where dinosaurs roam the earth and they eat JavaScript for breakfast. Okay, I'm gonna stop. So, in this video, we're gonna talk about Dino. What is Dino? Is it the shiny new object, or is it something that you should actually adopt? So basically, we're gonna explain what is Dino and what is the difference between Dino and Node.js. Should you learn Dino? Is Node.js dead? Spoiler, no. And at the end, I'm going to tell you if I'm actually going to use it in any of my personal projects, and if I am, which ones I will. And we're also going to answer the most important question in the universe, which is, should you like this video and subscribe to the channel? And the answer is absolutely yes, you should do that right now. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. All right, so cringe aside, what is Dino? So Dino, as it says here, is a secure runtime for JavaScript and TypeScript. So what is the meaning of secure? So basically, what is different between Node and Dino? When Node runs an application, by default, it has access to the environment, write and read files, and also access to the network. So by default, it has all the permissions. The only difference is that Dino, when you run an app, it doesn't have any permissions, and you only give it the permissions that it needs, which makes it more secure. Think it's not just about your app, it's also the dependencies that your app use. In Node.js, your dependencies also have all those permissions as well. So that's nice, it's secure by default. Honestly, this doesn't change a lot for us developers, it just makes it more secure. It's kind of like a framework feature. And also it supports TypeScript out of the box, you don't have to set up a transpiler or anything, so that's nice. And it has some really nice modern JavaScript features, which we will get to later. All right, so I want to be more practical and explain things as I go, more than explain them in like a slides thing, like lecture. So it sticks better when you learn it as you do it. So let's actually start doing. All right, so in dno.land, we go to install here. Actually, it's the same page. I should have just scrolled. And here it gives us like multiple ways on how to install Deno. I'm just going to grab this curl command. You can use homebrew or whatever, but I'm just going to use the curl command from here. I'm going to go to my terminal and I'm just going to paste it and hit enter. And this will download Deno and install it on our machine so that we can use it. All right, so that's done. You can run deno -help and the check, and there we go. It gives us all these commands that we can use to do different things with Deno. Now, if this doesn't run straight away, try restarting your terminal. And if that doesn't work, check your path. Make sure that the Deno directory is added to your path. All right, so I'm gonna cd into code, which is a directory where I put all of my code. And I'm gonna create a new directory. I'm gonna call that deno-start. I'm gonna open that with VS Code, so code deno-start. Make that bigger. All right, so now I'm gonna create a new file, which is gonna be our entry file for our app. I'm just gonna call it app.js. And here I'll simply create a greeting function. So I'll say const hello equals, and it's just a function that takes a name, and then it's gonna console log, actually let's do backticks, hello space, and do $ curly brace name to concatenate it and add an exclamation mark. And here I'll say hello and pass it my name, Ahmed, and save. And let's go back to the terminal. And here, the way we can run it, actually let's cd into it first. So cd into deno-start. I'm going to clear my console. And here we can simply say deno run app.js. And there we go. We hit enter, we get hello Ahmed, or your name if you put yours. So that's nice. We can simply say deno run, and it runs any JavaScript or TypeScript file. And we can also, by the way, say deno and hit enter. And it opens this console, kind of like the Node.js console, basically, where you can interact with it. You can say console log, console, and hit enter and you get console. So it's kind of like your browser console as well. So I'm gonna break out of it and clear my console. And now let's go back to our code. Let's say I wanna abstract this away in its own file. So I can just cut it and create a new file, call it hello.js, and here paste it back in. And what's nice about Deno is ES6 features, ES6 module syntax is already available. So we can say export default and say hello. And then let's go back to our app. And here, let's say import hello from same directory, hello. Now, the only difference in Deno, you have to be explicit with the file extensions. So here you have to say .js for it to work. And now if we save both files and we go back to our terminal and we run the same Deno run app.js, and it works exactly the same. So that's nice that we have this syntax. Let's say, for example, if you're working with React and you keep switching between the front and the back end, you don't have to keep switching syntax. And also you don't have to set up Babel or a TypeScript transpiler to have this to work. It already works out of the box. So that's nice. One other cool thing about Deno as well is that the browser API is already available as well in the backend. So we can test this by, actually, let's go back. I'm going to use this JSON placeholder API just to interact with an API to demonstrate something. And I'm going to copy this endpoint up to the /todos. So copy that. And let's go back to the code. And here, I'm going to create a function. Actually, it's going to be an async function. So async function main. And then here we'll say const response equals await. And here we can actually use the fetch API and then paste that URL in. And here we'll say const todos equals, actually I'm going to close the side thing, await response.json like this. And let's console log them to make sure that it's actually being fetched. And here we'll say console log todos. And of course we have to call this main for it to work. Now let's save. And here let's run our app. Oh, actually, I forgot to add the allow net flag, which allows Deno to access the network. So here we have to say Deno run -- allow net. And here we'll say app.js and we hit enter. And there we go. It actually fetches all of that data from JSON placeholder and console logs it to the console. So that's nice. One other nice thing that I like about Deno is you can remove all of this and remove this, and actually it's not formatting. We get the await, top level await, so we can use actually await like this without it having to be inside of an async function. So let's save and test if that's actually true. Let's go here, Deno run, and there we go. We get our print to the console, the same that we did earlier. So that's nice. A top level await is a really nice feature that Deno adds. All right, let's explore more of the Deno API. So let's say we have here, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it features.json. And here I'm going to paste something that I just copied. And this is basically some features that are available in Deno that are not available in Node. For example, top level await, explicit import extension, etc. I don't know why it's not formatting, so I'm just going to have to do this. And let's say, for example, in our app.js, we want to get to read this file. So we can use a global object called Deno. So we can say const file equals await Deno. And actually, for us to have access to that global file, let's install a VS Code extension called Deno. So search for Deno and install this Deno by Denoland. So hit install. And the way this works is in your project, you have to set up a VS Code, .vscode/settings.json file and paste this in. So I'm just going to copy that. And in our project, we'll create a new file, .vscode/settings.json, and paste that in and save. And now, actually, I think I have to reload that file. So I close it and open it. And let me try to say Deno. And there we go. So now we have this IntelliSense, and now we have access to the Deno API. So to read a file, we're going to use a function called read text file, and this is async. That's why I added the await. And here we're going to pass it the directory for the file, which is in the same directory. So ./features.json like that. Now let's console log this. So console log file. Let's see the contents of the file. So I'll save. I'm actually gonna just comment this and leave it as a reference if you want. So here, let's go and run our file. So we run the same command as earlier and we hit enter. And now it actually asks us to add another flag called allow read. Where is it? Yeah, it's right here. So here I'll say Deno run -- allow -read app.js. And now we get the content of that file. So that's pretty nice. So let's go back. Now the contents of the file are actually just pure text. So let's parse them as a JSON because that's what it is. So here I'll say const features equals, and we'll use what you already know, JSON.parse, and we'll pass it the file content like that. And now features is actually a JSON. So let's actually try to add a feature to this file. So add another, actually let me save this. Don't know why it's actually not formatting. Okay, I just fixed prettier. Apparently it was disabled for some reason. Okay, now I'm gonna get formatting, so that's cool. So let's add another feature here inside of this JSON file and actually have it saved. So for example, I want to add a feature called package.json because as you can see, Deno doesn't use that. So here we can say features and then give it a name. I'm going to give it a name with spaces. That's why I'm doing the syntax. Package JSON, and this will equal. So in Node, actually, I can just do this. In Node, it's true, you have that, and in Deno, it's actually false. You don't have a package.json. So let's actually console log these features. It would be nice. Actually, I'm going to use console table. That's why I formatted it like that. So let's say console table and pass it features. Let's actually test that without anything. So let's go back to our terminal. I'm going to clear it and run that same command. And we get it now formatted in a nice table. As you can see, Deno has all of these features, but Node doesn't. I mean, Node is still great. I don't mean to bash Node, by the way. I'm going to remove this console log here because that's just pure text. And now that we've added this feature, let's actually save it to that file. So we can do that with another Deno function. So we will say Deno await Deno.write text. What is that? Oops. Write text file. Yeah, this one. And then we're going to pass it the directory, which is the same slash actually the file path, not the directory. So features.json. And then now we need to pass it this JSON, but we have to make it into a string. So we'll say JSON.stringify, and we'll pass it features like that. Let's save and let's run that. And we will get an error. I want to just show you. Now we need another flag called allow write to actually write to that file. Now I know it seems a bit obnoxious to need a file every single time you run, but this is just, I'm demonstrating to you. If when you know what you're doing, you will know what flag you need and you write it immediately. All right, so now we say -- allow write and we hit enter. Actually, we console logged it without the addition, but now if we go to feature.json, it's not formatted. If I save it format, there we go. We get package.json, node true, Deno false. So that's nice. It actually wrote to this file successfully. All right, so let's go back. Now let's say suddenly you wanted to use TypeScript to make your code, more safe, type safe. So that's simple. Let's say we wanted to make this hello into a TypeScript file. We can just simply say, change that to hello.ts. And let's say we want to give this name a type of string so that we don't give a different type, and save that. And now we go back to app.js. Let's bring back that import. And of course, now change this to .ts, and let's call that function. And I'm going to change this to app.ts as well. And now if we actually here in the hello, give it a number, it's actually going to complain and tell us that no, that's not a string, this is a number. So that's nice. We can bring in TypeScript this easily. So here I'll say, I'll put back my name, hello Ahmed, save, and let's go back here and run the same command. But of course here we need to change app.js.app to app.ts, run that. And there we go, it runs exactly the same. So that's nice. It compiles TypeScript without us having to configure anything. So let's go back. I'm going to comment everything again so it doesn't run each time. So I'm going to comment all of this. Actually, I'm going to remove it. You can comment it or keep it as a reference. I'm just going to remove it. By the way, I also wanted to demonstrate that Deno has a really nice standard library, which means a set of features that actually doesn't come with Deno itself, but you can import from the web, which is pretty nice. It makes Deno itself lighter, and you only import what you want to use. So we have a bunch of cool features here. I'm going to demonstrate a simple one. So we go to FMT here, formatter, which has some utilities. One of them is the colors utility. So what's nice about Deno, you import stuff from the web. So if you go here, you see this colors right here. If you want to use it, you simply grab this URL, copy it, go back to your code. Now suddenly I can import, say import, I'm going to import from that URL. I'm going to remove this search. And here I'm going to import two colors, red and green. And now I'm going to console log red and say, what is a failure? Let's say connection or connection failed. And then do another one that's the same, but this one will be green. Green, connection, succeeded. Succeeded, I think that's how you spell it. All right, let's go and then run it. And because I've already actually downloaded this myself, for you, it's gonna download this package and keep it in the cache, which is pretty nice. So now we get connection failed in red and connection succeeded in green. So that's nice. As you can see, our folder structure is really clean. We just have the files that we accept this. Maybe in the future they will make this a global setting. But other than that, we just have our three files. We don't have a node modules folder, and we don't have a package JSON or package log. So that's pretty nice. And our application knows that it needs this standard library, this version, just from this one line of code, which is pretty nice. Now, because we're web developers, let's actually do something that's web related. So actually this will involve another feature as well of Deno. So if you go to the standard library, here you see that there is a directory for HTTP, which has some really nice utilities for HTTP. One of them is this really easy file server to use. So as you can see here, you can run a command and give it a script that is on the server, sorry, not on the server, on the web, and it will run it immediately in your app. So if we go to our terminal here, clear it, and paste that in and hit enter. Now this is actually, we get an error. Argument of type string / URL is not assignable. Well, we know this error is not from our code. So actually one thing we can do, Deno info, and pass it that same, where is it? So that same source of that file. And this will actually give us the dependencies that this is using. So it gives us a graph of dependencies. And mainly it's the standard library. So I see here it's not using a version. So what we can do, let me clear this out. We can say, actually, let's grab that same command from here, just copy. And now we can actually use the version of the standard library so that it's more explicit, which right now it's 0.74.0. So I'm just going to paste that. But here instead, let's go back here where it says std. Standard, we say at 0.74.0, and now we run it. All right, there we go. Now it runs without any error. I don't know why that happened. So now it's saying server is listening on port 4507, and now it's actually serving our root directory of our server and serving the files. So here, if we create a index.html, and we do exclamation mark and tab. And here we'll say Deno start. And here we put like a header one that says hello Deno. And we save that. And if we actually go to, what is it, 4507, if we go to localhost colon 4507 and we hit enter, there we go. We actually get our hello Deno index.html file. So that's nice. We just set up a file server and we didn't write any code. This code was already written on the web and we just executed it. Now, of course, this file server is set up really poorly because it's serving our root directory. As you can see, if we go here and we say /app.ts, it actually gives us our app.ts file, which is really, really bad practice. It's exposing all of our server files. So be careful with that and put stuff in a public folder. Obviously, this is just for demonstration. You're not actually going to use this as your actual server. I hope not. All right, so we saw now how we can actually execute a script which is written on the web. That's a really useful thing that we can do. Now, next, what we can do, we can set up our own server. So let's set up an HTTP server. And here it gives us a simple way of doing it. And so let's copy all of that code. And let's go back here. I'm going to close this. And in our app.ts, I'm going to paste that in. And here it's actually importing serve from server.ts from the standard library. And it's starting a server on port 8000. And here it's console login. I'm going to change this and say server up on HTTP localhost 8000. And here it's actually listening for every request. and each time a request comes, it responds with hello world. So if we save that, and let's actually make this green just for fun. So we'll say green and wrap that in that, close this parenthesis, save it. I'm going to remove this connection field and stuff, and it's going to complain, or actually does it not complain, that we need to remove red, but I'm just going to remove red anyway and save. And we go back to the console and we say Deno run -- allow network, and I say app.ts and hit enter. There we go, we get server up on localhost 8000, and if I open a new terminal, actually I want to open it side by side, so let me close that. And here if I say curl localhost 8000, I get a response that says hello world indeed. So we can actually add some more stuff here. We can simply say console.log request received, save that, and go back. Actually, we need to restart our server, which brings me to, we can actually install something that's similar to Dnon in Node.js, which, by the way, here in Deno land, you can go to third-party modules, which is kind of like a GitHub, and you search here for any module that you want to use. And I want to use Dnon, which is the equivalent of Nodemon for Deno. So we need to install it actually using Deno itself. So let's copy this command and let's go back to our terminal. I'm actually gonna exit the server. I'm gonna clear and paste that command, and here this will install Dnon locally, and now we have access to this Dnon command. So here we can say Dnon run exactly the same -- allow -network, and we run our app.ts and hit enter. And now our server is listening, and if we send a request, it says request received. And here if we go and we add an exclamation mark here and save, now did it actually restart? Let me send that. Oh, it didn't restart. Oh, my bad. I actually wrote Deno instead of Dnon. So if we go back here and say Dnon, hit enter, now it's gonna start our server, and it will be listening for changes. So if we hit here, it says request received, and if we go here and we add more exclamation marks and we save, if we go back, you see it restarts because we changed that file. And if we hit enter now, it actually has the edited file and it's executing that. So that's nice. We don't have to keep restarting our server each time we want to make a change. So now let's say we want to console log something different. Let's say we want to console log like the request and the directory, something like this, get/home. We can simply use this request object, which is of type server request. And let's do backticks and do $ curly brace. And we can use request.method, which holds the method. And here do a space and add request.url, which holds the path that was requested. So if we save now, we get this logger. So now if we, let's say, let's curl localhost 8000/contact, and we hit enter, we get here get contact. And if we send a post request, it's going to change the post as well. Actually, let's test that. So I'm going to open Postman and wait for it. Okay, Postman just literally crashed my computer, my laptop, so I had to open Insomnia, which is a lightweight version of that. So I'm gonna create a new request here. Just gonna call it test. And as you remember, this was on port 8000, so you say http://localhost 8000, and we control hit enter, and there we go, we get hello world. Now, if we change that to a post request, let's say to, I don't know, just /form, and we send a JSON body with our name. So I'll put, oh, it's showing that, Ahmed, and we hit enter. We get exactly the same response, but if we go back to our console, we get post/form. So that's getting the request method. And we can actually, this is a really crude way of implementing a server, by the way. So we can interact with our body. So we can get our request body by saying const body equals, and let's say await, and we use the Deno object. And here we use a method called read all and pass it our request.body. And this will give us an 8-bit array, so we need to decode it. So let's say const decoder equals new text decoder, and we'll use this to decode the body. So we'll say const decoded body equals decoder dot decode, and we pass it the body object. And now we need to pass this into a JSON. So we'll say JSON, actually need to put this in its own variable. So const JSON body equals JSON.pass, and we pass it the decoded body like that. And now we can actually return this. So we can, let's change this. Let's use backticks and say hello, actually hello, and do $ curly brace and use the JSON body dot name, because we get that from the body. So let's save. And now if we go back to Insomnia, if I execute this, I should get hello Ahmed. So that's nice. So we now successfully received the request body and decoded it and used that to get values from that and sent them as a response. Now this is like I said, this is using serve, so it's a very low level way of setting up a server. When we actually want to set up a server, we're going to use a web framework that makes this all easy and hides it behind the scene, and we get to write way less code than this. Now, if you really like Deno, please make sure to like this video and write in the comments if you want me to do more Deno stuff. I really like this framework and or runtime, and I think it's really cool. It has some nice features. And by the way, I think NodeJS, you should, if you don't know Node.js that well, you shouldn't learn Deno. And also, Deno is still a bit fresh. It's not as mature as Node.js. For my personal projects, if something is really simple and doesn't require a lot of third-party libraries, I could use Deno for it. But I still see myself just using Node.js for most of the things, because it's still more reliable and stable and has more ecosystem, like more libraries that you can use with it. But I think Deno is really promising. It might maybe in the next year slowly but surely kind of like rise up. The community is getting bigger, and I think they will both exist together until maybe one day Deno will be bigger than Node.js. But for now, I'm going to keep using both Deno just to learn more of it, and Node to actually run production applications. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you're really excited about Deno, because I really am. It has some really nice features. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, anything. If you disliked this, let me know why you did. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.